about 20 people jumped the gun there, but it doesn't matter. It's
I don't think anybody's watching too carefully.
Your timing chip doesn't start until you cross that little wave.
Although, funnily enough, for the elite athletes, it's gun time that is taken, not the chip time. We're talking a second over 26 miles. I don't think anybody's going to be too worried.
Look at that. That is a sea of humanity, you call it, Tim.
And the great thing is the numbers of athletes that are here in Chicago that are running for charity every year is going up and up and up. Now, you know, UK, the London Marathon is founded upon charity. I think there's more people running the London Marathon every April wearing costumes than there are not wearing costumes. It's kind of bizarre. Here in Chicago, not so many costumes in view, but actually the charity element here is huge today.
Well, last year they raised $15.3 million. That was a record. Since 2002, over $100 million raised for charitable causes. We talked about the race conditions, the weather conditions today, and for people finishing, for the people in the wave, and these people are just walking towards the start line right now. This is going to go on and on and on for about the next 3 or 4 minutes before they all cross the start line. Of the 45,000 runners last year, over 37,000 finished the race. I could expect if the weather continues like it is today, it's probably break that record as well.
I think that was a record. I think it was 36,000, just over 36,000 in 2011, 37,000 last year. And yeah, I mean, the better the weather for marathon running, the higher percentage of people are going to get around the 26 miles.
And you can just imagine the economic impact when you have 40+ thousand people coming into town. Over $243 million they predict that they will spend, or the economic impact that they have.
Again, many of these people stayed here overnight, nearby anyway, not just hotels, but in their cars. Anything to get close to the start line, or closer to the start line than they needed to.
Well, we can just see the elite men in that top corner, Mike, and the news that their official 10K time was 29:16. Now, if we look at our charts, 29:16 puts them spot on world record schedule, not course record schedule, world record schedule. So, unless something goes a little bit wrong, and there's plenty of time for that to happen, we're in for a special morning.
Defending champion Tsegay Kebede, who from Ethiopia, who won here last year, is not in this year's race, but he has the Chicago record at 2:04:38. We'll continue with our coverage of the 36th annual Bank of America Chicago Marathon in just a moment. Look at that scene.
Jeff, Tim.
This 26.2-mile race runs through 21 neighborhoods, 29 neighborhoods, one of them being Lakeview, and that's where our Marianne Ahern is standing by. Marianne, what's going on out there?
All right, Mike, this is certainly one of the most colorful spots along the way. We're at mile 8 waiting for those elite runners who should be coming through any moment. But if you've been here to Lakeview, you know there's music and dancing. And David Reithofer, you have been here for some 24 years. What about this one? What makes it special this time around?
I think this is the best one ever. Our theme is weddings this year. I have 230 volunteers who are so pumped up about this theme. And it's a gorgeous day. Look at that sky. This is a perfect marathon day. We are ready for the runners.
Notice a little tighter security this time around.
Oh yeah, there are more uniformed police officers. They're here to help us, and we're going to have a good morning.
A lot of volunteers. Where do they come from?
Oh, they're from my running club, Front Runners, Front Walkers, and from DePaul, and from Nettle Horse School, this school right here.
We'll be here watching for those elite runners. We're expecting them momentarily. Back to you, Mike.
All right, Marianne, the last men's mile, 4:43, 33:01 through 7 miles.
Yeah, it's quick. That's Falil now taking up the pacemaking duties. Abdullah Falil. He's due to be there until 25k, so that's what, around 15 miles, well past halfway. He's glancing around. He's doing a good job. He's trying to stay very aware of what's happening in that pack behind him. Still encouraging to see a pack of, what, about 12 athletes there, I guess?
Yeah.
Moving along so well. And all these shots give us a really good idea of just how flat this Chicago course is. It is perfect.
Well, there are 6 world marathon majors, and, you know, you talked about Wilson Kipsang breaking the record in Berlin. Where does Chicago rank there in terms of its ability to give up a world record,
The
if you will?
Chicago course, I think, has around 40 turns, if my memory serves me right, 41 turns. Berlin probably has slightly fewer than that. Berlin is a dead flat course. Chicago has 1 or 2 little rises. For example, there's a rise in the last half mile as they come in towards the finish. But they're pretty much identical. You know, Berlin, London's a quick course. It's got a few lumps and bumps. But, you know, we're reaching such an extreme perfection now in the world of marathon running for men and women that you have to have a course that has no compromises whatsoever. And Berlin is one of the very few that has that. Chicago is almost there. It's 99.5%.
All right, let's check in with the women's Xfinity Worlds splits. These were set by Paula Radcliffe in the 2003 London Marathon.
Yeah, I mean, 10:32:01. Paula was just operating in a different galaxy that day in London. The women this morning won through 10k 33:43. So they're about well over 1.5 minutes slower than Paula at 10k. And it's unfair to expect them to go anywhere near that world record or even the course record here today. 2:20 would be a great target, but they're some way off that at the moment, Ed.
Yeah, they're still running on about 2:22 pace right now, which is a very good pace. PR pace for most of the ladies in this course, and so I think they've got a good day going as well.
All right, let's check in with Jones. Joni?
Well, I can say the Pacers are doing their job because they're right on 2:22 pace, which is the fastest time in this pack, 2:22:03 by Etzede Besa. And back in the lead is Maria Konovalova, but Etzede is right there, and Worknesh Kadane is there, Rita's there, and Maramar's still there, and Ray's there, and Akava. So we have 9 women who are still forcing the pace here, but I am surprised to see Maria still in the lead position. And there was an interesting interchange right about 10k between Stede and Rita. They were sharing a water bottle and conversing a bit. So they are, I think, keying off one another and working together to try to push their PRs down below 2:22.
All right, thank you, Joan. The last women's mile, 5:28.
Yeah, it is a little interesting that Konovalova would be the one leading since she is at 39, the oldest of our elite marathoners, but she's coming off of a half marathon personal best set back in September, so she is in really good fitness right now and obviously feels very good.
we're looking at the men here, and of course these splits are coming out incredibly quick for these first 6 or 8 miles. But we did hear about 10 minutes ago that actually there's a tailwind behind the athletes at the moment. Now that would contradict everything we've been hearing, is that the wind would be coming from the north and northeast here in Chicago this morning. If they have got a tailwind, then it would suggest that those middle 2 quarters of the race, they might be running to a slight headwind, which is absolutely opposite of what was predicted.
And as you look at the Honda men's leaderboard, right now it's Sammy Kitwara from Kenya who has the lead, and the man that Tony Revis was talking about, Zerzne Tedeschi from Eritrea, the greatest half marathoner in the world with a world record of 58:30, right where Tony thought he would be.
And again, we hear another mile split, the last mile split, 4:45, going into the 8th mile, so they continue to hold that very, very strong pace.
Interesting athlete, Tedeschi. You know, he holds the world record for the half marathon. He's the greatest half marathon runner in history. But this is a very, very different discipline. And he's not broken 2:10 yet. He's trying to get his head around it. He said to me yesterday he's increased the length of his long runs. But this is a real test for him this morning because they are flying. They're almost, you know, as we say, they're on world record schedule. I wonder how long he'll last.
Tedeschi's PR 2:10:41, as you mentioned, Tim, in London in 2012. And we'll be back with more of this year's Bank of America Chicago Marathon in a moment.